Hi class, this is Mr. Peterson again, and I'm going to be teaching you a little bit more about Investigation 1-1, motion and variables. And what we're focusing on is pendulums. We like to start with pendulums because it's an easier way to kind of introduce a lot of the key vocabulary words about physical science. So some of the words that we need to be familiar with are force, motion, gravity, variable, speed. Now, Bob and Psycho are going to relate a lot more to the pendulum themselves and not so much all of the physical science type vocab. But we want to start with the pendulum because it really does help kind of explain some of the variables. Now, this is a grandfather clock, or a very simplified version, and it relies on a large pendulum on the bottom. It's a heavy weight, and what we call that weight is a bob. So the bob is on the bottom of this pendulum. Now, when we put it in motion, it swings for a very long time. And as it's going back and forth, every time it makes a whole cycle, it clicks a little tiny gear behind the clock. And every time it makes a cycle, it clicks another one, another one, another one. And it would probably click the second hand. And then when the second hands get all the way around, it clicks the minute hand one over. So it keeps doing all of those gears. When a minute hand goes all the way around, it clicks the hour hand over. Or it might make little changes as it goes through. Well, anyhow, my goal isn't to get into the mechanics. It's more to talk about the swings and why is it so effective and why does it do it that way. So we are going to use a pendulum that you created, and I have one up here on the board too. So with this pendulum, let's see if I can get it all on the screen at once. With this pendulum, what we want to do is we want to create a standard. So when you use your pendulum, make sure that it's away from things so it doesn't hit anything. We want it to be able to swing freely. Now, one swing, we have to make sure it goes all the way and back. Just like a race, when you run around a track, you have to get all the way back to the starting line before you can do one lap. So just like this pendulum, that would count as one swing, or what we say is one cycle. So we're going to say, we want to count how many swings will it take in 15 seconds. Now, our goal is to create a standard. So we want a standard that everybody is using the same thing, and that's why we measured our pendulum exactly 38 centimeters. That's why everybody's using one penny, one paper clip, and the same type of string, because we want to be able to test everything the same. In science, if we use all different tests, we're going to get different results, and then we can't prove which one's going to work better. Now, for this case, we want to see how the variables affect or change the pendulum swings. So the goal, another way to think about it, I guess, with the goal is to see maybe how can we get more swings in the same amount of time. So that's going to judge our variables, and we need to figure out which one's going to be better. And I set it up so that we can test three different things. So we are going to be testing the release position, because do you think that if I release it at a higher point, will it swing faster? Or maybe a lower point? And we can talk more about that later. Maybe if I double the weight and put another penny on there, so it's 2 pennies. If it's heavier, is it going to swing faster? And the last one, what if we make the string either shorter or make it much longer? If we make it much longer, is it going to change the number of swings in a certain amount of time? But before we start all of that, we have to set up a standard. So I need to know how many swings it's going to go back and forth, or how many cycles in, and let's use 15 seconds because it's not too long. So if everyone uses 15 seconds, what do you think? How many cycles are we going to get? I want you to pause it, think about it, pause the video, then think about it and write the number down somewhere so you have it for later. Okay? So think. what would your prediction be? All right, now let's try it. Let's see what I get. And I had a timer set up here. So if I go 15 seconds, ready, set, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, it was about 12 and a half, maybe 12. So right in between at 12 and 13. If you get the same, you're doing very good. Let's do it again just to make sure, because we always want to test multiple times. And I want my volume on so I can hear it. I don't know why it didn't play. Well, I'll figure it out later. Let's try it again. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, 12 again. I could do it 3 times, but I've also been testing it all day with the rest of the students too. So 12 is kind of our standard. We're going to go with 12. Was that close to your prediction? All right, so what we would do from this point is we're going to record our 12 in our journal. So if you open up your Book Creator journals, and I am going to as well, I have my Book Creator. I copied it. I copied a book. I already copied it, and you can change the name, and I might just write my first name, Ryan's Journal, so that I know this is mine. Now you can't write on Mr. Peterson's, the master copies. You can't write on those, so leave those alone. You need to rename yours. It should say your name at the bottom. So use your journal, okay? Now, if I click on it, I have to use the arrows, and I'm going to go to page 20. On page 20, we just set this up. So in the time section, how much time did we use? Correct, 15 seconds. Then the mass, or the bob. How much did the bob weigh that we were testing? I'm going to put 1 penny. Oops, click on it. 1 p for penny. The release position, if I think about the release position, if this is 0 and this is a right angle, because I wanted to go level, the right angle would be roughly 90 degrees. And I don't know how to put the degree symbol in there, so I'm just going to put 90. The length, everybody should have done this correctly, and 38 centimeters. If you created one, you can use my video too. The prediction, please put in here what you thought your prediction was going to be to begin with. Now, when I first did this, my prediction, I think it was about 8. I thought it was going to be 8 cycles. Now, what did we actually get? So after we tested it a few times, we got 12 swings. And now this is our standard. This will be our standard that we will be comparing the rest of them to. 12 is our magic number of swings, and we're going to continue with this, and we're going to change one variable every time we do a test. We're going to change one variable at a time, but we're going to keep going back to the standard and keeping all of the other answers the same. All right, so we'll check out the next video, but this video was just finding the standard of our pendulums.